Cold light flickered on Europa Station S command deck as Commander Alex Ward stared at the main screen. Static rippled across the feed from Neptune's fleet. 1 second the ships were there, drifting in perfect formation beyond the dark blue storms of Neptune. The next, they were gone. No explosion, no signal, just black space. Ward leaned forward, hands locked on the console. "Try again," he said. The comm officer's fingers shook. All channels dead. Recovery signals. Nothing out there. Alarms started to pulse through the walls, deep and rhythmic. The deck trembled, like something had hit the outer hull. Men and women scrambled to stations. Red lights lit the floor edges. Ward turned to Lieutenant Kara Holt, standing beside the tactical display. She was young, but steady. Eyes fixed on the radar feed. "Get me a direct line to Earth Command," he said. "Already trying," she answered. Signal paths flooded. Fields jammed. The sound of distant metal grinding cut through the air. Everyone paused. In the silence that followed, only the life support fans hummed. Then the grinding became a roar. An impact slammed through the deck. People fell. Its panels blew off the walls. Pressure alarms went wild. Ward saw a flash of white flame through the viewport. Drones. Hundreds of them. They swarmed like specks of light, ripping across the station's defense grid and cutting through turrets with surgical precision. Ward yelled, "Shut the outer hatches! Redirect shields to Sector 3. Holt slid down beside him, wiped blood from her face, kept working. "Shields not responding. Something's killing the command system." "Override manual," Ward replied. Her hands flew across the keys. "It's locked out. Someone's running internal orders against us." The station shuddered again. The ceiling cracked. Cold air hissed through the seams. Someone screamed behind them as a control arm snapped loose. Ward saw it crush 2 engineers before the vacuum compartments sealed. Communications burst alive with overlapping voices. "Station 2 is going to power core breach, no escape shuttles left." Ward felt his stomach tighten. "Vigilant is still docked, right?" "Yes, sir," Holt said. "Bay 4, still fueled." "Then we move." They sprinted through smoke-filled corridors. The walls glowed red from power surges. Fires painted the ceilings orange. Crewmen stumbled through debris, some dragging wounded, others gone silent from shock. The sound of metal boots and alarms filled every hallway. Ward slammed open the docking bay doors. Through the observation window, he saw the destroyer Vigilant braced against its clamps, half its hull scorched from recent repairs. Its engines pulsed faintly, calling like a last lifeboat in a hurricane. He keyed the bay intercom. "This is Commander Ward. Any crew still alive to the Vigilant?" Right now, they pushed through the last corridor as drones punched holes in the outer bulkhead. The air turned white from decompression. Holt fired down the hall, plasma bolts smashing through drone armor, sparks showering across them. Ward hit the final hatch controls. The Vigilance ramp lowered. He pushed Holt forward. "Go." She hesitated a second. "Commander," the Cum's-Earth never answered. Ward looked back once, eyes burning as Europa Station tore itself apart behind them. "We'll send once we're alive." They leapt onto the ramp as the ship's inner seals locked. The bay split apart in a burst of light. The destroyer tore free of the dying station and shot into the darkness, leaving behind a swirl of fire and metal dust. On the bridge, Holt raised her eyes to the flickering monitor. A single message blinked in the corner, looping without sound. It was Earth's command. One word repeated over and over on the empty screen. "Hold." Then the signal cut. The destroyer Vigilant drifted in the black just beyond Jupiter's orbit. Its hull was scarred, engines groaning like old bones. Inside, the smell of burned wires hung in the air. The crew worked in silence, patching leaks and sealing the scorched bulkheads left from Europa. Commander Alex Ward moved through the narrow corridor between repair crews. Every few steps, he passed welders crouched under flickering portable lights. Sparks bounced off the metal floor. The ship moaned as power flowed to the new shield grid. Lieutenant Kara Holt watched the main status screen on the bridge. "Hull integrity at 68%, she said quietly. "Reactor stable again." Barely Ward stopped beside her. "How many survivors did we pick up?" 36, that's counting wounded." Ward gave a slow nod. "And the rest from the outer stations?" She shook her head. A deep silence settled across the bridge. Outside the windows, Jupiter's storms moved like mountains. Red and gold flashes lit the hull. Then the radar pinged. Holt jerked upright. "Incoming crafts," she said, voice tight. "Small convoy, burning slow." Ward leaned toward the console. "Dominion or friendly?" "Transponders running civilian tags," Holt said. But it feels wrong. Trajectory's too clean." Ward straightened. "Battle stations. No firing until we see their faces." Minutes later, 5 ships approached through the static haze. They were patched together, a mix of mining haulers and converted patrol vessels. One of them flicked its lights twice in the coded pattern the Federation used for distress. Holt frowned. "That's our emergency signal. Bring them in," Ward said. He didn't like it, but he needed to see other humans alive. The convoy docked under tight magnetic clamps. Airlocks hissed. The first man through was gaunt, jacket torn, eyes wide and hollow. Behind him, more followed, survivors from Ganymede and Callisto, half-starved, bruised, terrified. "You're from the Federation, right?" the man asked. "You have to help us." Ward met his stare. "We'll try." "What happened?" "They came from the dark side of the moon," the man said. "Federation ships, black markings, no signals. They cleared our defenses like they knew every weakness. They said they were Dominion now." The word hung heavy in the air. Ward had heard it once before, an intercepted chatter from the destroyed fleet. Holt's voice broke the silence. "Dominion is human," she said slowly. "They're not strangers. They're us." Before anyone could speak, the alarm screamed again. Ships jumped in from hyperspace right on top of them. No warning, no negotiation. Fighters spread out from the lead cruiser, their contrails glowing blue. Energy bolts lit the shadows. The Vigilant shook as impacts hammered its shields. Ward grabbed the comm mic. "All hands brace for combat." Inside seconds, the hangar was chaos. The rescued civilians ran for cover while Ward's crew manned turrets. Holt dropped into the gunner seat beside the bridge viewport and powered the targeting array. The space between Jupiter and its moons turned white with crossfire. Point defense guns spat hard light, cutting through half the Dominion wave. The rest came back stronger. One fighter dove straight into a docking arm, shattering it. Ward barked, "Holt, hit their engines. We can't fight a full cruiser here." "I see it," she shouted. Her console glowed red. A volley of torpedoes streaked out, striking the Dominion frigate broadside. The explosion lit the bridge like dawn now. Ward yelled, "Get us out." Engines thundered. The Vigilant broke from orbit, dragging debris and fire behind her. When the noise finally faded, Holt checked her screen again. "We got their logs before the fight," she said. "It's all Dominion code, and there's something else. It's tagged with an Earth security seal." Ward turned slowly toward her, disbelief on his face. "Earth's command signed this." Holt nodded once, pale and quiet. Ward looked out at the glowing storms far below. His eyes were hard. "Then this war didn't start out here," he said. "It started back home." The Vigilant hung near Saturn's rim, half hidden by its ice rings. The ship's hull still smoked from the last battle, and the crew worked without sleep. Every deck hummed with low tension, the kind that came before a storm. Commander Alex Ward stood on the bridge, staring at the glowing curve of Saturn. "Signals from Earth?" he asked. Lieutenant Kara Holt checked her headset. "Nothing. Command still labels us deserters. They want us captured or silenced." Ward's jaw flexed. "We find proof before they bury us." She nodded and turned toward the radar display. Dominion flagship is in range. They're using a carrier named the Harrow. Massive heat signature running slow near the rings. Ward looked over at his navigation officer, Sergeant Drew Keller. "Course locked." "Locked and ready," Keller said. "But they have numbers. If we charge in, we burn fast." Ward didn't flinch. "Then we hit them faster." The engines kicked in, and the deck rumbled. The Vigilant cut through a cloud of frozen shards, each piece reflecting pale light like sparks. Weapons crews armed torpedo banks. Hull plating groaned as the power feed climbed. "Target within 10,000 kilometers, Holt called. Her focus was sharp. "The Harrow has patrol wings already moving. Deploy fighters," Ward said. "Cover all angles." Outside, 15 small craft launched from the Vigilance bays. Their trails glowed across the black sky. Ward could see them from the viewport, tiny streaks against the ring light. The enemy responded with twice as many. Swarm hit fast. Explosions lit the dark like fireworks. Holt's voice turned clipped and quick through the cum feed. They're pressing the flank. We're losing signal on Echo Wing. Ward kept his eyes on the tactical screen. Drive straight for the flagship. We don't win by surviving. We win by cutting their head off. Holt didn't argue. Her hands moved across the console, bringing up tactical overlay. Their shield pattern looks Federation standard, not modified. That confirms your theory, sir. Dominion's using stolen Earth tech. Not stolen, Ward said dryly. Given fighter chatter filled the air. Holt switched frequencies fast. This is Holt to all pilots. Priority strike on the main drive section. Hit it clean. Don't break formation. Through the glass, she saw her wing cut downward, skimming debris clouds, then pull hard toward the main cruiser. The Harrow filled the screen now, massive and dark, shaped like a blade cutting through the light. Ward's voice hardened. Fire all torpedoes on my mark. The Vigilance hull shook under recoil. 6 torpedoes streaked ahead. 4 were shot down mid-flight. To hit, carving bright holes through the Harrow's flank. Then the Harrow's guns opened. The shockwave rippled through the Vigilant. Consoles popped and lights blew out. Crew hit the floor. Alarms screamed, blared. Keller yelled over the noise. Forward shields gone. Reactor feed unstable. Keep it steady, Ward shouted. Holt's breath came fast. We're losing half our pilots. Engines overheating. Can't hold this range. Ward made a decision without hesitation. Then we end it now. Holt, take the strike craft and finish the job. Direct hit on their core. She stared at him. That's suicide. He met her eyes. It's the only way. She bolted for the hangar. Moments later, Ward watched her fighter launch. The tiny ship weaved through the wreckage, engines burning white. Enemy guns tore lines across the space around her, but she kept going. Inside the Harrow's inner shadow, Holt locked her sights and fired a single shot into the exposed core. The explosion consumed her craft. The light filled Ward's bridge like a sunrise. When the glow faded, the Harrow was going to broken into fire. Ward didn't move. Static filled the radio. Keller wiped ash off his face. She did it, he whispered. Ward nodded once, but before he could speak, a scrambled video feed appeared on the cracked main screen. Admiral Pierce Lang stared back at him. The Federation's top strategist, the man Earth called loyal. Lang's voice came through weak but clear. You were right, Ward. The monsters, they were yours all along. Then the signal cut, leaving only silence and the sound of Saturn's radiation storm against the hull. Rain hit the steel roof of the transport as it cut through the low thunder over South America. Vigilant had been left in orbit, wounded beyond repair. Commander Alex Ward sat across from Lieutenant Kara Holt, the only pilot who had made it out of the fight around Saturn alive. She had burns down one side of her neck and exhaustion in her eyes, but she didn't complain. No one on the small strike team spoke. The air hummed with old engines in fear. They had left space behind and entered Earth's atmosphere under false civilian codes. Officially, they were dead. Through the fogged window, Ward saw the shadow of mountains forming under flashes of lightning. He leaned forward. Vault 9 is under those peaks, he said quietly. Coordinates match Lang's data burst. If the Dominion used Earth tech, answers start there. Holt nodded. You think Command knows we're coming? Ward gave a short nod. I'd bet my last breath they do. The pilot up front keyed in the descent path. Ground sensors are blind for 3 minutes. After that, we're targets. The transport broke through the clouds and touched down on a flat plateau covered with wind and dust. Gray buildings stretched in the distance, half buried by time. There were no lights, no guards. Just silence and old snow. They moved fast through the storm, weapons tight against their chests. Ward's boots cracked the frozen dirt. Holt trailed just behind him, scanning the horizon. The wind carried the faint echo of machinery under the ground. The entrance to Vault 9 was hidden under a false rock wall. Ward slammed in the override sequence Lang had sent. A deep vibration rolled through the ground, and the door opened, sighing warm air into the cold. Inside, lights flickered on, one by one. Long halls stretched ahead, lined with reinforced glass and steel. The air smelled of oil and chemical rot. Computerized voice prompts still echoed in the distance, sold security systems running on decaying power. They entered the main chamber. Hundreds of pods stood in perfect rows stacked to the ceiling. Each one held a person in suspension, men and women, all human. Their eyes closed, bodies motionless, flawless, as if built yesterday. Holt whispered, "They're soldiers." Ward stepped up to a control panel and wiped dust off the screen. Project titles scrolled across it. Neural acceleration, temperament suppression, synthetic learning loops. It was a blueprint for an army that did not need conscience or rest. "This is it," he said. Lang was right. Earth built monsters, then tried to hide them. A voice came through Holt's headset. Static cracked, then a sharp tone. "Unauthorized access detected. Ground teams inbound." Ward looked at her. "They tracked us." Holt drew her weapon. "How much time?" The voice repeated, closer now through the speakers. "Containment teams inbound." "Lethal authorization granted." Ward scanned the control board. Power levels flickered. Manual override keys glowed red. Shh. His jaw tightened. "If they mean to destroy this place, they'll burn every secret we came for." Then the floor trembled. Dust fell from the ceiling. Secondary generators kicked in. The pods began to hiss. "Stop it," Holt said, stepping back. "The system's waking them." Ward slammed the controls, but the interface ignored every command. The inner doors sealed with a deep metallic thud. One by one, the pods filled with white vapor. Shapes stirred inside the glass. Ward backed away as the first chamber opened with a blast of steam. A man stepped out, skin pale, eyes colorless, muscles defined like armor. He took one slow breath and looked straight at Ward. "All units online," came a calm, mechanical voice over the speakers. Holt raised her rifle, fear shaking her hands. "What are they going to do?" Ward stared, realizing too late the truth. What they were built for. Above them, the air shook with an approaching roar, engines cutting through the clouds. Earth's defense fleet had found Vault 9. The clones opened their eyes. The ground shook under Vault 9. Alarms pulsed red against the white walls. The ceiling trembled as gunfire echoed from above. Commander Alex Ward stood in the center of the awakening chamber. Round him, the cryopods opened one after another, releasing pale soldiers who did not speak. They moved with perfect rhythm, eyes fixed, jaws tight. Lieutenant Kara Holt kept her rifle ready. Her voice trembled. "Ward, they look human, but they're not right." Ward watched one step forward. The man was taller than most, his veins black against white skin. He looked at Ward like he was reading a command prompt. "Identify," the man said, clipped, emotionless. Ward lifted his rifle slightly. "Commander Alex Ward, Human Fleet. You were made by the Federation." The man blinked once. "Then you are command authority." Ward felt the weight of those words. The clones stopped moving and waited for orders. He looked up at the cameras that still blinked weakly from the ceiling. "They'll be here any second. Earth Command wants this place erased." The door at the far end exploded inward. Shards of glass and metal cut through the air. Federation troopers stormed in, faceless behind heavy gray helmets. "Drop your weapons," one shouted. Ward didn't move. "Hold," he said quietly. The clones reacted faster than thought. They turned toward the troopers in perfect formation. The sound of rifles thundered through the chamber. Red flashes tore across the walls. Bolt fire punched into armor. The troopers fell one after another. Holt ducked behind a fallen console. "They're killing everyone." Ward pressed against cover beside her. "They're following instruction. They were made for this." The fight lasted less than a minute. When it ended, smoke filled the room, thick and stinging. The clones stood over the fallen soldiers, calm again, waiting. Outside, heavy engines roared. The ground shook as dropships landed across the valley. Through the cracked ceiling, light poured down from the burning sky. Ward looked at Holt. "If we run, they'll bomb this site flat. If we fight, maybe some of us live long enough to stop them up there." She coughed through the smoke, eyes hard. "And those things? You trust them?" He turned to the nearest clone. "Can you follow me into battle?" The man nodded once. "Our purpose is combat. Give targets." Ward took a breath. Then fight for humanity, not against it. The clone's expression didn't change, but something flickered behind his stares. If the word humanity carried weight, he'd never been allowed to feel. Ward climbed over the wreckage toward the exit. Move out. They emerged into the gray daylight. Plateau burned. Dropships released waves of soldiers, and armored walkers descended through the smoke. Laser fire cut the air into shards of red and white. The clones advanced in absolute silence. Their formation cut through the Federation line like a storm. Ward ran with them, rifle hot, shouting orders. Holt flew a stolen gunship overhead, pinning down turrets. The wind screamed through shattered towers. Explosions tore through the mountainside. Each blast sent sheets of ice sliding into the valley. Ward's headset crackled. A dozen fleet captains were broadcasting from orbit. "We're seeing the fight from above," one said. "Orders, Commander." Ward answered through gritted teeth. "Join us. Stop taking orders from liars. Help your own." "For a moment only," Static replied. Then voices started calling back one by one, pledging support. The sky filled with returning human ships. Federation cruisers broke formation and turned their guns on the Dominion lines. Ward looked up. "We're not monsters," he muttered. "Not yet." Holt's gunship swooped low, her face streaked with firelight. Incoming missiles, East Ridge. Ward turned and saw the last Dominion carrier piercing through the clouds, black hull cracked but still moving. He aimed the targeting beacon at it, yelling into the radio, every gun on that ship. Now, the combined barrage lit the sky. The carrier split apart and fell burning through the clouds. The shockwave hit the valley and threw Ward to the ground. When he pulled himself up, Holt was helping him to his feet. Around them, smoke rolled through the ruins. The clones stood motionless, waiting again. One of them stepped forward and spoke flatly, "Combat complete. Awaiting next command." Ward stared at the human faces, motionless in the light of the fires. For the first time since the war began, he didn't know what to say. Above them, the sky was quiet. Ships drifted without weapons fire. Earth was silent, watching. Then, faint over the open channel, a voice from Earth's command broke through the static. "Stand by for new instructions. All forces prepare for containment of Commander Ward."